Hey y'all, Marietta here with another video. Just want to talk to y'all a little bit before I go to bed because I got to remembering some things. I was just sitting here watching TV and then I got to thinking about the fact of how cold it's going to be tonight. And tonight we're going down in the 30s. And with that being said, going down in the 30s, I got to thinking about that there was a time that my mother's home, the what was it, the wood stove, the pipe had blew off the wall and it had started a fire like in the chimney of the house. And I remember I had a expedition, I believe it was. Yep, I had a expedition, and I went to my mama's house to pick her up, but we had to wait for Red Cross to put us up in a hotel. And we couldn't go to my apartment at that time. I didn't own a home at that time. I had an apartment. And so, but it was an upstairs apartment and her legs wouldn't allow her to climb up the stairs. So we had to stay in that truck for the night so that Red Cross could put us up in the hotel the next day. So as we stayed in that truck through the night, um, with mother being sick and whatnot, it was the hardest night for me because I made sure that she was well taken care of, made sure that she stayed warm, reclined the seat so that she could be comfortable, and so that she could get a good night's sleep. I even took my jacket off and balled it up, because that's mom. You do whatever you can do to keep mom comfortable. No matter what situation you in. So at that point, the next day, the Red Cross put us up in the hotel, and of course, we were fine after that. But I say that to say, I got to thinking just now about how many elderly women that are out there by themselves in these vans, in these vehicles, in these cars, in these RVs, and it's cold outside, 30 degrees weather, and they're out there trying to make it on their own. Bodies cold and frail, and yet, not as strong as they used to be, and they feel like they're being left all alone, and they are left out there with nobody to fend for them but themselves. And people don't offer so much help nowadays, like they used to, especially with the elderly. There was a come a time that when you saw elderly people, you honored them, you gave them the most utmost respect. You watch what you said around them. You didn't curse around them. You didn't want to smoke around them. You didn't want to do anything because that was a level of respect that we were grew up with. And the sad part about it, I'm seeing that that level of respect is so far gone and is drilling so far away that people now can just see the elderly struggling, see them in these vehicles and walk right past them, ride right past them, act like they don't even exist. I mean, it's a hard pill to swallow, and it's so hard to see these things happening, because I'm noticing too that there is more elderly women out there from what I can see. Even when I'm out moving around in the city, I hardly ever see a lot of elderly men. I do see some, but it's more elderly women I see parked in their cars, covered up with blankets, or they walk in the street with a shopping cart covered up with a blanket, trying to make ends meet, trying to do what they can do to get to where they need to be to get the things that they need to make it through a day. But when you think of 30-degree temperatures outdoors and shelters being full, or they think they can make it, and then they don't. But yet we're about ready to climb into our warm beds, got thermostats to turn on, and be able to go to sleep. And yet and still, so many people are not grateful. They're not even thankful for that. They're not even, I guess I'm saying, people are so ungrateful when it comes down to these situations and not realizing that somebody is always in a worse situation in which you're in. A worse situation. When I know me, if I was to see an elderly woman out there by herself, and it's like saying, and I could help her, even if it's just getting her a cup of coffee, giving her something to eat, I got to be careful who I bring to my house to give them a night to stay, because y'all know I got a son here, and you can't just let anybody in this season either. So you still got to be careful. But yet and still, when you think about the fact that God has given you discernment. God has given you discernment, and you got to be able to use that discernment to be able to be a blessing to someone else. And I do have great discernment. I do know exactly when to help and when to retreat and when to digress. And I just, got to thinking about that particular night that me and my mother slept in the car, and how much I hated the fact that we had to do it for just one night. I could have did it, but I did not want her to do it. I did not want her to have to sleep in the vehicle for not but one night, but we had no other choice because we had to wait for Red Cross to give us the hotel for her, because there was no way she would even be able to climb the stairs of where I lived. The stairs were like a pitch stairs that went up like this, and she had trouble with her legs. Her legs, were very weak and wobbly, so she couldn't have made it up that far, and I was not in a position to carry her. So, and then she wouldn't have been able to make it back down. So we just stayed in the vehicle, and I just kept it warm all night long. I remember staying awake all night long because you'll do what you got to do for mom. Especially when that, she done did all she got to do for you. I don't care what situation you're in or what you've been through. There was so many nights she had to wipe my tail and change my diaper and stay up all night long. So because of the sacrifices that she made, I was prepared to make whatever sacrifice I had to make. No matter what you go through, that's still mom. Some people say, they go through so much with their parents to the point where they don't want nothing else to do with them. But I guess I want to say, if y'all got your parents, you got your mother, you got your father, and they are in their elderly age right now, and you can bring them home, bring them home. Bring them home. If it's in your heart to bring them home, talk to them about coming home. Now, if they don't want to come home, you just keep an eye on them from a distance and make sure that they're okay. Because right about now, our elderly are struggling. Our elderly are leaving here in record numbers because of the fact of the conditions that they've been forced to be put in. You know how hard it is for them to be in a situation where they got to ask for help, especially when they done worked all their life, especially when they done been the strong ones and they done carried the load for years and years and years. To be able for them to ask for help is huge. It's huge. And sometimes you will find that they'll be in the house struggling all by themselves. And when they're by themselves, left by themselves, they'll start shopping out of boredom. And then you'll end up with a hoarder situation because of the fact that they're not going to do nothing with the stuff they buy. They just buy it. Just buy it, and you shop out of boredom at that point. And no matter, even if it's money they ain't got, they'll just buy it and pile it up, or they'll go to this flea market, that flea market, this yard sale, that yard sale, somebody's house, drag home anything they can for comfort. Wherein if they had the love and the comfort of their children, I'm sure they would trade that for family. So you got to be in a position where you understand that when they have been the breadwinners and they have been the leaders all this time, it's hard for them to take direction from somebody else. But I'm sure they would rather take that direction than to be out there in that cold when it's 30 degrees like tonight. Tonight it's really cold outside, and somebody's out there with no coat. Somebody might be out there without no blanket. And you think about them things. Well, I think about those things. Everybody may not think about these things, but I think about it. And I don't take it for granted that I got a bed to sleep in and a warm cup of coffee in the morning when I wake up. I don't take that for granted, because there was a time that I didn't have it either. But now that I think about it, I do pray for those that are out there on the street, asking God to send someone to keep them warm, give them a warm blanket, give them a bed, asking God to cover them through the midst of the storm while we're going through these situations. I think the homelessness situation is going to get much worse come 2026. But in the midst of all that, we just got to be prepared to help where you can help. But if it's your parents, your grandparents, and y'all know that they're out there and y'all know that they're struggling, you know that they don't have nobody to help take care of them, this is where somebody in that family, go get your family. Go get your family off the street. Go get your family off the corner. Go get your family out of the car. Go and let mama know that she's welcome to your house. Whether she chooses to come or not, let her know that she's welcome, because sometimes they want to come, but they're afraid to ask. They're afraid of being told no. They're afraid of being shut down, put down. Maybe they may not have been the best of parents, but right now they're in the worst of situations, because maybe you might not understand the fact that they may have been the worst of parents at that point, but we got to learn how to forgive and forget, and not to forgive. To forgive and forget about certain things at certain times. I'm not talking about nothing crazy now. If it was really a terrible situation, I'm just talking about things that little things that you may go through as family members. I'm not talking about nothing, just outrageous, where we could go down that rabbit hole of they did this to me, they did that to me, and they did this and this is, yeah, I understand all of that, but I'm not talking about that type of a situation, because any situation has caused you a lot of grief and a lot of pain that you can't get over. Nobody can tell you when it's time for you to end it. You got to figure that out for yourself, because one thing I do know for sure, forgiveness is never for the other person. It's always always for you. It's so that you can be able to mend the fences and so that you could be able to move on. But our elderly are being left out there in the cold, left out there in the street, and that's what I think about right now. And I think about the fact even the younger people too as well, but I know they're more equipped and they can move around a lot better and they can do some jumping jacks and they can run around, and some of them are out there because they want to be out there. But when you see all these people that are being put in their cars, it's no more the luxury. They're not out there for luxury rides or luxury time or anything like that. They're out there because they were put out there because of the high cost of rent, high cost of inflation, can't afford to live. Social Security checks are not enough for them to pay rent nowhere. So they're just out there and afraid and cold and hungry and wet and scared and vulnerable, just vulnerable prey. So with that being said, y'all, that's what my thoughts was tonight, and my heart goes out to each and every one that's out there. And for anyone that may see this video that is an elderly person, just know that we love you. Just know that I'm praying for you. Just know that things going to get better. They got to get better. They got to get better. Try to connect with your family if you possibly can, friends, co-workers, anybody that you can connect with, that you may be able to live with, that may have an extra bed or extra room. Just try to connect with whoever you can connect with. I mean, because I don't know who y'all know, but you know who you know, and you know who you can live with and who you connect with. You know what type of people you got around you. So this is why I tell y'all start grading your circle right now so that you won't be alone through this time. And I'm talking to myself too, because I definitely don't want to have to go through the storm all by myself. I don't want to go through the storm by myself either. So I'm making reservations, making plans, getting thoughts, trying to toss some things around, want to be able to use my home as a shelter to be able to help somebody. And I just pray that, I'm going to pray about it, trust and believe I'm going to be safe about the situation, because I do have a child in this house. So y'all, with that being said, y'all keep a prayer on me as well, because like I said, I do have a heart to help, but I just got to make sure that I'm in the right space and I'm done prayed up and asking God to guide me and send the right people. So with that being said, y'all have a wonderful rest of y'all night. Say a prayer for those that are out there that have been displaced. Y'all say a prayer for them, and make sure you put a prayer on yourself. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. If and so you have not turned your notification bells on, please turn your notification bells on this time so you'll be notified when I drop my next video. And thank you to everyone that thought it not robbery to join the family when you did join the channel. So we thank you so much for joining us over here. We're on the move. We're uplift, motivate, and inspired group. We like to have a safe place so that everyone can come and share their views, share your thoughts, and just be able to communicate. All right, y'all. That's all I got for tonight. I love y'all. See you in the morning.